Hello, welcome to our latest webinar called Enhancing Performance Through Collaboration. A couple of technical issues I think we've been having in the last hour, causing Savannah to stress immensely, but I think we're all ready to go now, aren't we? So what are we going to talk about today? I have with me Simon Vaughan, who's Managing Director of JCP Consultancy Limited, also involved in IC30.
Correct.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
As normal with these webinars, you should have a question box. Please do send in your questions throughout the webinar. There's a session at the end to do questions and answers, but we'll intervene and interrupt Simon at appropriate points throughout. We have about 4 polls, I think, to do today as well that we're keen to get some information back from you guys. So sit back, have your lunch and enjoy what we're going to cover today. We're going to have a look at the environment in which you operate. We're going to have a look at attributes. What attributes do cooperation and collaboration require of people? We're going to have a look at aligning projects with procurement, contracting and relationship strategies, and finally developing and maintaining cooperation and collaboration. It's a big word, isn't it, collaboration? So
yeah,
people spell that right, probably most of them. But,
use a spell checker. That's what I suggest, Robert.
Okay, I think we can do that. So over to you, Simon.
And hello to everybody. Yes, I think collaboration has its place, and it has its place particularly at the moment because of the very complex environment in which people are delivering engineering and civil engineering projects. I think the slide indicates that there are lots of players, lots of stakeholders and lots of people either in client organizations or the supply chain or the wider environment, a role and a place to play in delivering a project. And that complexity is apparent at the moment. And I think where the collaboration comes to the forefront is on helping people come together in a constructive and value-adding way. I think that's what collaboration for me is all about, adding value to the outcome of a project or a program.
Okay, so X is the spot there. X is the bullseye. That's what you're. So that, are there degrees of collaboration then, or is there you're either collaborating or you're not?
There's a maturity of collaboration, I think, and you start off by having a belief that collaboration can work for you and you can benefit as an individual, as an organisation. And I think as you get better and better at it, and you get more feedback on it, you become much more adept at collaborating and much more confident at doing it. I think people need to start off by overcoming the fears around: do I trust somebody? Do I not? Do I engage with somebody? When do I engage with people? Things like that. So I think now is the time, and I think it was a Pinsent Mason's report that was recently out, which actually said collaboration now or never for the industry, and that was basically saying that there's a level of distrust endemic within the industry. There's a level of inertia within the industry, and too often contracts are written to deal with the negative consequences rather than dealing with the positive consequences of us working together. So I think there's something there that really the industry needs to overcome and work on. And I think a collaborative environment where people have mutual respect for each other and want to deliver value for each other is the place that is probably going to add more to the bottom line of each and every organisation involved.
So if it's that sort of straightforward, why on earth wouldn't we do this in the first place? And why was I not taught this at, in academia university days, if you like? Why did they shape and develop me for a conflict zone, which was the construction industry, rather than, developing collaborative tools and techniques and traits, etc.? Any ideas?
Well, I think most people, when they are born in their early life, are collaborative, and I think you see that in young children. You see where young children are very open about their feelings, share things, and ask very difficult questions of people. So I think people start off that way. And I do think the education system and the professions reinforce this need for competition and for non-collaborative environments. And I think for me, collaboration I don't disagree with competition. Competition should be about us competing against all the elements that make our projects and programs difficult to deliver. It's not about each other.
Compete the right things.
Compete on, there's some environmental challenges, there's some budgetary challenges, there's some program challenges. Those are the things that people should be competing around, rather than me and you, Robert, having a dialogue and a debate and an angry discussion about how much time we take.
Yes, and basically compete about who can make the biggest mess up at tender stage. And that's the basis sometimes of awarding contracts, isn't it? The person who messes up the tender wins a tender. So you're saying competition, so you can have competition in a collaborative environment, but be careful what you compete.
Yes, I think we have to be clear in both the contracts we write and the intent behind them. I think that's a real good thing of Vaughan and EC3 contract, in terms of talks about a spirit of mutual trust and cooperation. And it's how do you enact that? If you firmly believe that is how you should work with people, it's how you enact that. And I think some of the professional things that have happened to people like yourself over the years has pushed you in the opposite direction.
So no hair.
Yeah. And let's be clear, you've become successful based on the way you've behaved in the past. So it's asking you to think about those things and say, actually, there's a better way of doing it. And that's where we're going to start.
Okay, but you end up, typically my career was starting in the conflict zone, in a war zone, if you like, adversarial industry. And then at some point in time, you just shake your head, think this is, you despair, don't you? You think this is madness, pure madness. But you get there yourself, don't you? I don't think I've ever heard of the word collaboration 20 years ago. So maybe the first signs that I saw of somebody saying this industry is broken was Latham. So in 94 or so, the Latham report said, what on earth is going on here? We can do so much more, so much better. There's so many things that are wrong. And my understanding was the Latham report actually should have been, the first draft was trust and money rather than what it turned out to be, i.e. the lack of trust and the lack of money or something like that.
Yeah, I was fairly fortunate. I had some time with Sir Michael during that period as well. And I think, trusting the team, which is what came out of it all, really did fall in the money in you delivering projects and programs in the right place. And I think it was quite clear at that stage, and I don't know if the numbers are still the same, Robert, but we were spending in the UK at that stage something like £500 or £600 million a year on legal advice. And was that delivering any more concrete in the ground or iconic structures or schools or hospitals or infrastructure? I don't think it was. I think it was just people playing out to their professional needs.
Some of it would have been setting contracts up properly, but some of it would have been dealing with the chaos that arises because they're not set up properly. I don't know what the split is or was. I do know that certainly a lot of advisors these days are splitting their business into contentious and non-contentious, and the non-contentious side is gaining momentum. So people are having the belief now that you've got to set things up properly in the first place to give yourself the best chance of success.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because there is scientific talk about something outside construction or civil engineering. There's scientific evidence that even in the animal kingdom, when things are hard, when hardship comes along, the animals collaborate with each other, cooperate. Even those little things called wasps do that. When it's difficult, they will work with each other. So why in this industry do people default to, when it isn't working, we'll have a good old fight about it? We'll argue about it rather than focusing on what's needed, which is actually delivering something which is of value to society in a way which is going to add value to society, and also in the process, it feels better for us. My experience over 28 years now is that I've worked with teams who have collaborated and have gained something as individuals, enjoyed the experience, and at the end of those, don't want to go back to the old.
Yeah.
And it's like you've got to take the first step to try something different, to find out what it's like. But I think you've got to remember that collaboration is a means to an end. It's not the end itself. So I think it's that thing about, we're here to deliver a project, a program, or an asset. So how do we get to that point? And having a structure of a really good contract around the NEC 3 and 4 that gives you some rules to play by. Having an intent to work collaboratively is great. But I think and I think this came out in the Vincent Mason's report as well, was that so often people default to thinking simply because we talk about collaboration, they assume that it will happen.
Yeah.
But it won't. It's the same thing as everything in life. You have to do something.
Yeah.
You have to plan something.
And that's my concern. Just using NEC 4 isn't a means to an end. So, whilst I love it to bits, it's just a set of rules, isn't it? And it tells you what to do or not to do in certain circumstances. If you follow those rules, you're probably in a good place. You'll probably be collaborating. But you have to decide whether you want to follow the rules or not, whether you want to collaborate.
Yeah, and I think you need to be very specific about what do those rules mean for people involved. What happens, or what tends to happen in my experience, is that people are not clear about what collaboration is. What does that mean for me as a quantity surveyor, or as an architect, or an M&E consultant? What does it actually mean I've got to do different? And people see the big words around cooperation and trust, but what they don't see is, so what have I got to do now to make sure that I live by that?
Yeah.
And I think the NEC contract gives you a framework. I think you then almost a duty bound to sit down with your partners in that, who are signing up to the contract, to define this is actually how we will do it.
Okay. How do you see? So ethics is a growing interest of mine. How does collaboration sit with ethics then? It sounds like exactly the same level of discussion. Really, they're very complementary. I would think.
I can see them side by side, and I can see working collaboratively. The only way you can work collaboratively is by a set of ethics and ethically, because it is a value. It is a value. Collaboration is a value. It's not a behaviour in itself. The behaviours underpin collaboration around trust and openness and transparency. But I think ethics is a huge issue, and I think things around would I be non-ethical if I was collaborative? No, I wouldn't.
Non-ethical if you were collaborative?
No, I can't see collaborative and non-ethical fitting in the same box.
Okay, yeah.
They're
part of a group of things. If you do all of these things, you're probably improving the likelihood of project success.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's, we hear a lot about failure, and sometimes the industry sets itself up and writes its contract on the basis of failure.
We do. We expect failure often, don't we? What happens? What delay damages? Why do you want to spend an age arguing about if they're late, blah blah blah? Why not set it up to succeed, not fail? Why would you want to focus on failure? And then your expectations are lowered. Oh look, they did fail. They were late. Here's the damages. That's hopeless. That's hopeless to both buyer and seller.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think some of the recent things that have happened in the industry really should make us stop and think.
Yeah.
I think there is a we're at a point where people have a choice as to how they deliver projects in future. That is both value adding to the people who spend the money, which in most cases generally us, the taxpayer, and also added value to the companies who supply the service.
Okay, so could we end up with a split industry? Those who genuinely wish to collaborate and those who genuinely wish not to collaborate. Is that viable? Is that possible? Is that where we are? Are we at a crossroads?
Well, I think we've been at a crossroads, unfortunately, since 1994.
Since Latham.
Since Latham, you know, we've had Latham in 4, then we had Egan,
yeah,
and then we had Wolstenholme, and then there's the Farmer Report, and then there's the Principal. They're all saying the same thing in different ways, but they're all saying we should change. And I just wonder what the industry really feels about. Do we want to change?
Do we genuinely want to change?
Yeah.
Genuinely?
Do we, first of all, do we understand the collaboration?
Yeah.
And maybe we can get some views on
yeah.
whether people think that they do or not. And then, you know, what do we do about it?
Or do we like arguing? Do we make good money from arguing? Does that help us go home at night, massage our ego? I won a big battle today. I'm great. I crushed a subcontractor. Fantastic.
I have met some engineers and quantity surveyors and procurement people that actually do they do like that, which is fine. You know, that's the way. That's the environment they want to operate in. That's the game they want to play. Then it may well be a case of saying, put those in. You
go over there.
You go over there. The rest of us actually want to come and add value. We want to come and have pleasure in what we do. And my view is most engineers have a passion for what they do. So why aren't we just helping them release that passion and helping them deliver something which is of huge consequence?
Yeah, and I think we'll move from this slide shortly. But we measure project success, don't we? Often in terms of, you know, was it finished to time, cost, and quality? Really abrasive, yes or no sort of things. Whereas, did you enjoy the 4,000 hours you put into the project? Were they good fun? Did you feel harassed or bullied? Did you feel valued? Did you, you know, was it a great experience? Will you reflect on this and learn from it? We never look at anything like that. We never look at the human factor, the incredible amount of effort and hours that we put into projects. You know, why don't we do that? Why don't we look at that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was fortunate with a team the other day, and the project director's view was exactly that: was that we will deliver this on time, we will deliver this on budget, we will deliver it to quality. What we need to do is, in the process, actually get some pleasure out of it ourselves, because we get to the end of 5 years of our lives and we look back and think, that was awful.
What was all that about?
Yeah, it's just
destructive.
Well, and I think the other thing with that, Robert, is it sends a message out to the whole society, which is, does that attract people to come into the industry in future?
No.
If you know you're going to turn up every day and have a barney, have a bun fight, have a real hard day with somebody, does that motivate you? Is that no? If I was 21 now, I remember
it's only 2 years old.
Thanks, Robert. Thanks. If I was that, if I was of that generation, I'd see it differently. And fortunate enough, I've got a son who's of that sort of generation who would say, I don't want to spend my life like that.
Yeah. Do we smile enough? Do we have enough fun? Do we create some? We do create some brilliant things. Look around you. The whole world is full of brilliant creations, but how much anguish and pain and bullying went into that versus how much pleasure could we have had we have collaborated? That's the dilemma, isn't it?
Absolutely, and collaboration, again, I say, is a means to an end. So part of that means to an end is that you get motivated and enthused and pleasure out of going in to do what you do every day of the time you're there.
Yeah. Doesn't mean there won't be mistakes, though, does it? So it's not a foolproof thing. So you can't say collaboration equal no defects, exemplary safety, and all the rest of it. You're not going to have perfect outcomes each time, or are you?
I wish life was like that. It's not a panacea for all ills.
Yeah,
you know, and companies going bust because of particular issues. Collaboration wouldn't have helped certain companies.
It might have accelerated the demise, perhaps, but.
Who knows? But you know, I think if it's a strategy, I believe, and having worked in the industry for a long time now, I believe a lot of people have now seen what benefits you can get from it. The biggest challenge I think we face now is increasing that outside those, what I would call collaborative heroes, to others in the industry, and actually practicing it so it becomes the norm. It doesn't become something different.
But that to me is a workplace issue. So your employing organisation, how do they create that collaborative environment? How do you are chartered, most people, so your chosen profession, how do they help you become collaborative? And academia, that producing the next generation of these 21 bright young things, you know, have they been taught the benefits of collaboration and how to collaborate? Is that going to happen?
Well, yes, I think being taught is quite the right words. I think we need to counteract all the things that people are taught to do, which isn't collaborative.
But you are told not to be collaborative. Certainly, as a child, so not that I can remember that far back, it was thousands of years ago. But my parents, you know, don't talk to strangers, hold my hand crossing the road, and all those things. So you have a natural, you're told not to trust, aren't you? Or certain things, not everything, but certain things.
Well, I think that there is certain attitudes that we bring from our early life, and yeah, that can be one. I think if you were into team sport, you would see how working with others, engaging with others, can give you pleasure and can actually bring about a good outcome.
Not in my football team.
Hopefully you're not a West Ham fan.
Absolutely not. Same colours, but 100 miles north.
Oh, okay. But I think we need to get to a point that people have choices. They don't have to always default to. We need to compete. We need to be hard. People. That's one thing that differentiates us from most of the animal kingdom. We choose how we behave.
Yeah.
We can stop being the way we are if we want to.
Or do something about it.
Do something about it. Do something different.
Seek help, coaching, training, therapy, heaven knows what.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think, you know, that if we could get people engaged in that way, then wouldn't it be great that we could sit around and actually not sit in project and program meetings at the end when we do postmortem,
the blame stuff,
where it's just like it's gone bad. And my experience, you always find somebody in that room who put their hand up and said, I've told you that 6 months, 18 months, 2, 3 years ago.
That's of no help.
Can
you bring that person's name?
So what stopped them? What stopped them saying something?
Yeah.
And I think if we create a collaborative environment where people can be open, can share concerns, can share challenges, can share solutions
without fear of being
bullied, and that happens. People being pressurized into, you must think like this. This is going to be doomed to success or doomed to failure, whatever it is. But I think if people are open, honest, transparent, then as a group of people, we've got more likelihood of identifying the risks and the opportunities for delivering our programs. You know, and that whole Donald Rumsfeld thing about known knowns and unknown known knowns and all of that stuff.
Yeah,
I think there's often known unknowns that sit in project teams that if we had a collaborative environment, we would get on the table early and do something with.
Yeah. Let me think about known unknowns. And Savannah's told me to move on the slide.
Okay.
This one. Somebody dragging a bear down the stairs.
Yeah. So it's my favourite one. I use this quite a lot, actually. Yeah, there is now is the time to stop and think, because we can't carry on the way we have done. We need to deliver more in a more constructive way. And I think if we can stop, and I know it becomes habit to carry on till we get to the very end, and then look back.
Yeah,
I think now is the time to do it.
That's something you do. I ask people to reflect. So your last 6 months, or are you happy with it? No. You can do anything about it? No. Why? You know, why would you not do something about it if you're not happy?
Yeah.
Okay. Poor bear.
Poor bear. It is only a stuffed animal, Robert. You're all right. Yeah, complicated or complex. I think too often the world in which we live, we try to deal with complex issues with a complicated solution. The world, most projects, most programs, and most environments in which we're delivering those things are not simple things. They are complex things. you can't deal with that in a transactional way. You can't deal with that in a linear way. You can't easily do the cause and effect link. So you've got to behave differently. And the only way you can do that is behaving differently with a group of other individuals. And the only way you can do that is actually, in my view, to collaborate. Otherwise, I suppose that the cartoon actually indicates you take the simple answer, which actually doesn't address the problem. So you've got to get your head around, this is a complex world. This is a complex set of relationships. This is a complex environment in which we're operating. We need to find different ways of working together that actually deals with that.
Okay, so first poll, if I can get this right. How clear, oh, hang on, let me launch it. It should be launched. I can't see the word. How clear are the people around you, ... something to do with mutual trust and cooperation. So, in the next 30 seconds, have a vote. Very clear, most clear, partially clear, not at all. Distributing poll, 1% vote. Get the numbers through now. What else?
I'm really interested in this because I think there's a lot of use of the word collaboration.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are using it as a facade, really, to carry on behaving the way they've always behaved.
Okay, so hold that thought. So we've got about 60% voted. That's enough. So let's close and share. Partially clear was 45%, mostly clear 39%. Was that your expectation?
Yeah, that's better than I was imagining, actually, which is good.
It's not too bad.
That's good. That's good.
Maybe you have maybe this is a fine audience that we have out there. So the world of NEC, believers, mutual trust and cooperation. Does the audience help or hinder?
It certainly would do, and I think if people are switched on to the NEC form of contracts, then they probably had some training, some input, some guidance from yourselves around that, and probably take a view that we understand what it is.
Okay.
I think out with that group of people, my experience is that quite often I hear from project teams, we actually don't know what it is, we don't understand what it is.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever really explained it to us. So this is the education process, I think, in part. People keep changing what they mean by it.
Yeah.
So there's no consistency, and I think that's what I like about a contract environment. You set down the rules and you follow the rules.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is a consistency. And one thing about behaviour is if you are consistent, then people actually then know what they're going to get next time, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yep, I agree with that. Okay. It's part of this.
So what we're looking at here is a fairly high level view of the main, what I would call six attributes around collaboration. I think with that, collaboration is about people being very strategically minded as well. It's about them thinking the bigger picture rather than just about themselves and about the immediate stuff. It's about them thinking about the project or the program or what their other colleagues. It's about coming up a level as well. So that's critical. They've got to be a very team-oriented engineer, and they like working with others on solving problems. For me, that's a natural team.
Yeah.
So you would imagine most engineers would be good collaborators. I'll leave that thought hanging out there for a minute. Okay. Collaboration and cooperation is around good communication, about open sharing. I think one of the fallacies about collaboration, it's not about equality.
Okay.
It's not, we don't all have to be equal.
Don't have to have equal shares in anything.
No, we don't. It's am I getting what I need out of this relationship? And are you getting what you need out of it? at a very simple level.
And how can we help each other achieve?
Yeah, how can I help you achieve yours?
Objectives.
Yeah, if I can help you achieve your drivers, and you can help me achieve mine,
yeah,
then great. And I've worked with teams where actually at a senior level, we've decided, or they've decided, that actually for our reporting, our governance, for the next 6 months, you will be responsible for delivering my objectives, and I'll be responsible for delivering yours.
Okay.
And I tell you what, that doesn't half change the dynamic and the spirit by which people work together. Because if suddenly I've got to go, I've got to deliver. You're the contractor. I'm the client, but I've got to help. I've got to deliver your profit.
Deeper understanding of somebody else's perspective.
It comes back to motivation, doesn't it? If you know what motivates somebody, what their intent is, why are they doing things?
Okay.
Then you've got something to build on there.
Okay, we have another poll on this one. How good are the people around you? How good are the people around you? Keeping commitments of being accountable for their actions and behaviours. So distributing poll, very good, sufficient, inconsistently, not good. Wait for the poll to be distributed. So in the minute, I'll ask a question. So you touched on something about people getting like collaboration, like a badge, if you like. So there's an item on the BS. Well, is there a risk that people will say they're collaborative, get the badge, but actually do nothing about becoming truly collaborative? For marketing purposes, a bit of a scam exercise to get onto bid lists, etc. Is there a risk? And therefore, sorry, where am I going? Why do I worry about this? That then that's, that collaboration thing doesn't work either. Remember, partnering doesn't work because people truly didn't partner. Well, what if they don't truly collaborate, and therefore the stigma all attached to it?
Yeah, I think if I could play on the plus sides mean is the standards and that are out of collaboration. I think the downsides are that there are people who will, like in all parts of life, bend the rules and end up with a certificate on the wall which says they collaborate. The standards are all about the organisational's ability to do something, or processes to do something, processes to collaborate. It doesn't actually tell you about the individuals.
Yeah.
So you can have you could have a big plaque up there saying organisation, but there's a huge number of people in that organisation that don't collaborate.
Yeah.
And I think one of the
actually, some of them have no idea they've even got that badge or trophy or whatever. So.
Absolutely, and I think the fear I have is it becomes another tick box exercise.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
And it becomes a bit of a, we've got it, therefore we've
done everything we need to do. We've done the hard bit, got the badge, move on. What else do we need?
It's absolutely fantastic. He's put collaboration on the map. I think people need to take it the next step, which is what does that mean for the way people behave, and what does that mean for what we deliver? I think that's critical.
Okay, your poll. So 11% very good, the people question. 35% sufficient, but surprisingly, inconsistently or not good is 54%, which is that's bad news, isn't it?
It's not surprising. Not surprising.
No, it might not be surprising, but it's not good.
One of the elements of collaboration that people forget about. Yeah. Which is we all have accountabilities and responsibilities. And I should keep myself honest about my responsibilities and accountabilities. But it's quite open and it's quite beneficial if you keep me honest as well.
Yeah.
And too often we find people who get into a collaborative relationship where these things blur. Yeah. And people all think, well, we're all accountable and we're all responsible. We've got to stick to, we have roles and we have responsibilities and accountabilities. And if people aren't doing what they're meant to be doing, they've got to be kept given some feedback around that, and kept honest around it, and helped to do those things. So I think that is something that people tend to forget about and think it's not part of collaboration. I firmly believe it is.
Okay, that's a really helpful point. Okay, next part.
One of the key things about when to collaborate. You talk about showing people in separate boxes and different parts of the industry. For me, you're more likely to get benefits out of collaboration if there are high costs, high risks, high complexity, and high interdependence in what you're trying to do.
Okay, so straightforward, simple, low risk, domestic, household, small extension. What's the point?
Because where collaboration is, you have to invest in it. It doesn't come for free.
No, but some of the attributes of collaboration, the telling the truth, sure, that would help at all levels, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
That would be helpful.
Can I borrow your builder next time?
Yeah.
And I think, it would. But from an organisational perspective, as a supplier or as a client, you've got to sit down and say, okay, if it's low risk, low cost, low complexity.
So what the investment?
Why would I invest the energy?
Yeah.
Because I'm not throwing money at it, but I'm throwing time at it probably, and leadership time in most cases. Why would I do that? Now, if there are things that are more complex, more interdependent, then yes.
So it's common sense, isn't it? So applying judgment in a common sense way as to where your time is best directed. Massive programs, some are pretty straightforward. What you're saying is put your efforts into those that will yield the greatest reward in terms of value.
Yeah,
that need collaboration.
Absolutely,
okay.
And
but it will filter, won't it?
It will, and eventually, I won't be around by then. The industry will work that way more as a default rather than the way it does at the moment.
It's like the legacy. So we'll do a time capsule in 10 million years, and we said, "Oh, Simon said." Simon says there's a game about that, isn't it?
But yeah, it was interesting. I was with a client yesterday and talking a bit about that. You almost could do a heat map.
Mm-hmm.
Do a heat map of where in your project or program are you going to get the most benefit from working collaboratively.
Okay.
And then focus your energy.
Okay.
And
that's quite interesting, isn't it? So if you say with a certain project, well, we seriously need to collaborate at this point and this point. I'm thinking perhaps an interaction with Network Rail or something like that on a bridge crossing, I don't know, something that absolutely, and some other parts of the job don't need the same degree.
Yeah,
I've not thought about that. So
yeah, you can't collaborating
at different
points. You can't throw everything. Transactional relationships are fine.
Yeah.
When things are simple, consistent, reliable, that's fine. So put those to one. You know where those can go. The more complex, the more independent. That's where you want to invest your time.
Okay, I'm aware we've got some questions. Maybe a couple more minutes of slides and then see what the guys have got.
Yeah,
question-wise. Okay.
I was, because I'm fortunate to be with you today, Robert. I sort of was looking at, okay, are there particular contracts? Are there particular contracts that are more appropriate at different stages of maturity? So what I'm looking at here is that if it's a very high need collaboration and people understand what it is, the behaviour is there, the leadership is in place, the strategy is there, then you can look at a form of contract slightly different. I'd almost go through a hierarchy there. Yeah. I don't know about your experience, but for me, you can't just jump from a bish bash, non-collaborative, very adversarial way of working.
It's a maturity thing, isn't it? So.
It is. So I think whoever the parties are to the contract need to take a view between themselves as to what level of maturity have we got in our relationship and our ability.
Don't overstretch yourself. And if you want to jump and it fails, you'll never get there again, will you? So
absolutely.
Don't do big
take it in
easy
stages. And if you're fortunate enough where you've got a number of these things coming up, then use it as part of a building block to something else.
So do the first language.
That would be interesting. I take my mind back to, we did a lot of projects for a particular retailer. And one thing we got from that, and they got from that, was actually improvement and as we went through the journey. You know, so the first one had a milestone, had a delivery timeline and a cost. The last one was significantly different.
Yeah,
and that was both in contract terms, but also in the relationships, the trust, and the collaboration.
Yeah,
and online. So you know, it was
so interest on the chart is the forthcoming NEC4 Alliance contract. So that to me is the greatest set of rules in the world of NEC that allows for the greatest amount of collaboration. Hopefully, if there's enough collaboration that is encouraged through that contract. But very interesting. So if it ends up with that, which I think it has the no sue rule, if you like, so no matter what happens at the end, we will think very carefully about setting this thing up properly in the first place. That's the typical way in which we use a contract to bash the other go over the head isn't available to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. You really got to sit down and look at it in the cold light of day, and say, how would we deal with that situation? How would we deal with that situation? But also deal with it in a positive way as well. I come back to the comment I made earlier on. We set things up on the basis of we're going to fail. Well, let's take a view we're going to succeed on this occasion. And will this help us? Yes, it will. What's the risk in us doing it? Well, actually, when we get all the way down that road,
so how can we avoid or reduce the risk?
Well, absolutely.
Surround ourselves with the right people, with
work in the right way, with the right behaviours, with the right intent.
Still may go wrong, but you've reduced the chances, surely, of it going wrong.
Absolutely. And my view is that organisations should pick this up as a great looking contract.
Does look good.
One of the things I wanted to talk briefly around was people talk about, well, what is collaboration, and then what do we do to make sure it continues? Because it's not something you can buy a ticket and then you got it. You've got to keep on working at it. So what do we keep on working at? Well, we've got to keep working at developing the confidence in our relationship. So we've taken some steps now. What's going to take us a step further forward? We've got to focus some time on that. I think we talked earlier on about the objectives, and you help me meet mine. That's one way of building trust and collaboration.
Yeah.
But it means that I've got to take the time, the energy, and the interest, and use God's gift to us in appropriate measures, in a way that I understand really what your needs are. Yeah.
Without it being a lip service thing.
So
it's genuine.
It's really understanding. Right, this is what I want. This is what I need to get out of it.
Okay. So another quick poll. So how good are you giving and receiving constructive and helpful feedback when behaviours negatively affect delivery? Something like that. Distributing poll.
Yeah, feedback is for me one of the key elements of
So what are you thinking here then?
I'm imagining it's going to be, and we're not that good at it.
Okay.
So there you go. I put
50-50. Do you want to be on the fence? You want to go one side or the other? No, or just sit right on the fence?
I don't think we are good at it. And I think we're not very good at it because we don't want to hear bad news.
Don't vote because someone's saying that. And what you believe, because
people don't want to give bad news. People can't construct feedback in a constructive way. Invariably, feedback tends to happen at the end of a project or a program.
Too late
to do anything about it.
Might help the next job.
But yeah, it might, but wouldn't it be good to have it today so I can do something about it? Okay. And wouldn't it be, and this is what we could do to make it better.
Okay, so I've closed that poll, and share it is 70% are always or mostly good, 8% always good.
Oh, well, excellent.
So there you go.
Look forward to receiving some feedback on these people.
Yes. Okay, very good. A couple more slides, one more poll, I think. Then a couple of questions.
Yeah.
So,
okay,
this one.
Well, this for me is the key thing about collaboration. Really, is about mitigating risk. And if we have the right environment and the right spirit and the right behaviour, and we work as a team, we'll see those risks earlier. We can do something about them earlier. we can take our collective contribution to how to do it. And one of the areas that the sector needs to get better at is pulling those contributions, because that's where we're going to get the innovation from, isn't it? That's where we're going to get the blood from the next lot of people joining the industry.
How exciting is the thought of that? 10 intelligent people, 20 or so years each, or whatever it is, between them, countless years of experience to put into creating a great project. You know, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So why don't we do that? So why do we hold things back? Why do we?
So if we can engage people in a way which they want to contribute, and they are recognised for contributing, they're not feeling bullied by the environment, then we're more likely to release some of those opportunities.
Okay, last poll then. To what degree does your corporate organisation positively influence your willingness and ability to collaborate? Very interesting. And then, of course, with data protection, this is all confidential, and we won't disclose it to anybody or any elections or anything else over the next coming month or 3. Isn't that correct?
We don't actually know who's responding, do we?
We've no idea. We don't collect that data. We don't control it or process it. It's entirely anonymous, isn't it? Well, nobody's voting, look.
I think organisations are like human beings. We're all dysfunctional. It's the degree of dysfunctionality.
Yeah.
And I think too often what we see is that organisations put things in place that stop people doing a really, really good job, that stop people delivering extra value, constrain people, in some places even bully people psychologically to stop them. And I think for me, it's what as an organisation can we do to release all that energy, passion, enthusiasm. It's just like,
we're very expensive to train up. Okay, not quite as expensive as a fighter pilot or something like that, but we're not cheap, are we? Nobody's cheap to train up.
No.
And so why wouldn't you want to harness the brilliance of that person and then collect up that brilliance?
That's one thing you know about engineers, isn't it? They will always solve the problem.
Yeah.
Maybe 53 different ways, but they'll always solve the problem. So why can't we release them to do that?
Yeah. Okay. So your vote, 13% totally, 44% most, which is not too bad. 30% sometimes, and then the worrying ones, 12% very little, 2% never.
All right.
2% never once have a look in a mirror.
or they only work for a small organisation, or they're the top of the organisation.
Yeah.
They could be the CEO of an organisation who feels they have the freedom.
They're already there.
They can do whatever they like.
Okay. Very good. So last knockings, I think. That's it. Just reflect on that for me.
Sort of looking over it. For me, it's collaboration is a means to an end. It's something, I think, with the complexity that we've got so far in the environment, with the interfaces we've got, and the challenges we face, it is the only way to deliver complex projects and programs. And I think there is more that can be done to help people collaborate. One of the first things I would suggest is that people who lead organisations should be clear about what collaboration is to people, and clear of the consequences of collaborating or not collaborating. And I think we should celebrate where we do it, and tell people where we do it, and not focus on the negatives.
Okay, so some questions then. We have 3 minutes to wrap up. So I think a lot of positive that everything can improve so that there are pressures at work. I think a lot of positive that everything can improve so there are pressures at work. So there's lots of pressures at work. I'm trying to find the question. Yeah, okay, we'll come back to that one possibly. Cartoon slides so relevant to me. My bosses always overthink risk to the detriment of the progress.
Overthink risk. Okay.
Everything, overthink.
Well, there's always always a danger that people overthink things. I think we try and the old adage of a plan's only as good as first engagement with the enemy. I think is a good one.
Yeah.
And my view is that we don't plan in the right way. We plan in silos. We don't plan in together in a collaborative way, and we don't then use the plan, the feedback, and the team to keep us on track.
Okay, what is Project 13? Which has been on one slide. So a quick plug.
Project 13. So there's the official launch of Project 13 will take place in May, and it's the infrastructure client group looking at the next level beyond alliancing, and it's about an enterprise environment. And there's an excellent report out there called Project 13.
Okay, go have a look.
And there's some tools that will appear on the ICE website.
Okay.
And that'll help people get a grip of that. But that really, for me, is an ultimate environment for collaboration. That's probably as near towards nirvana in collaborative terms.
So you must be very excited for the launch.
Oh, well, I'm looking forward to the challenge, shall we say.
Okay, another question then. So you mentioned the dichotomy between collaboration and competition. Okay. Do you have examples of where competition has been used to drive forward collaboration in typical macho environments like construction? And it is a macho environment.
Yeah, I agree. It is a
macho.
It is a macho environment, and unfortunately, diversity, inclusion agenda is fortunately is now out there, and we're talking about it. But we've got so far to go. I've never seen an environment where I thought that this is collaborative, it should really be competitive, it would deliver a better outcome. I'm old to the school and have got the scars, which basically says that collaboration is probably the best way and only way of delivering anything that's complex.
Okay, but what about driving forward collaboration with competition? We talked about competing.
Yeah, well, if the competition's around how good you behave, and how good
have you seen that? Have you seen that? And have you seen positive results?
Well, in some ways, some of the selection processes that some clients have put in place, are focused on X% towards the behaviour, the leadership, and the organisational alignment. I think if you use it in that way, you're going to get much more collaboration.
Yeah.
And I think if the competition's around ideas, maybe some innovation, some ideas you have a problem and you set up a hackathon or something like that, where you got various groups going at problem solving for the hackathon. Then I think that could work.
Yeah. Okay. I do recall one client creating a framework based upon cultural fit, saying, if we're not of a level of culture, can't fit culturally, there's no point working together because we won't be able to do.
Yeah, you can look at culture. What I'd be wary of is that you look too much the same. Yeah. That fit has got to be a certain difference between you.
Yeah.
In order to bring some value to the relationship.
Yeah. So you bring the right things to the table. Yeah, each supplier brings the right thing.
Yes, it's that synergistic thing. You're bringing something of value, something different, something that's going to move you collectively forward.
Okay. So are low margins and high risks in our construction industry driving the non-collaborative behaviour? Low margins, no risks. I don't think it helps. I don't think there's only one thing, is it, that drives?
No, low.
They only hinder. They can't help, can they? Bottom dollar stuff.
Yeah, I think there's a debate to be had around value.
Yeah.
In all of that, and also understanding why they're about paying more. I think it's about how efficient you are. And the recent report from government last year around productivity is an interesting one. because as an industry, productivity has not improved for 20 years.
Yeah.
So you could say if you were more collaborative and more productive, your margins would be higher and your risks would be lower.
That's my argument. So what I see often in target cost contracts is a focus on negative things like disallowed costs, which might be 1 or 2% of the whole. Whereas productivity is sat there with probably 30, 40% unproductive. Why not focus on that? Why not try and eliminate the lack of productivity, become more efficient? I don't get it. Why do you focus on the small ticket stuff that won't yield the returns?
I agree. It's you look inwards and you see why you're wasting your time.
Because we're comfortable. We're comfortable with those arguments, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, you didn't do this, or you should have done that, or
and you have your QS, I'll have my QS, and we'll have another one just to make sure.
Chest puffing exercise and bounce off each other.
So how productive is that, and how much does that add to margin and risk?
Completely pointless.
So,
but therefore, actually, do we have the skills to challenge ourselves to get rid of the wasteful? Do we have that talent to say, why can't we optimize the use of that crane or that piece of machinery or those people?
I think the talent is there. It's whether the will to do something, because we've always done it this way.
There's going to be easy money in that. It's going to be easier money, surely, being more efficient than squabbling.
You would imagine. And I said earlier on, I was fortunate to do some work with Sir Michael in 94. Productivity was an issue then.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
I haven't seen anything since then to improve it, other than I saw a robot laying bricks recently on a YouTube things. Didn't stop as many times as a person would, or something. Okay, so Alan's called time out on us, so best.
I've left 6 questions on the slide, which
they'll still be there. So this
people can think about them.
Becomes your legacy, so it'll be on YouTube, etc. And I've left something. Oh, sorry, Q&A. We've already done that. So connect with Simon Vaughan. There you go. There's all your things.
Wow.
And his phone number is 999. Right? Actually, no, that was a joke. Somebody might actually ring that for Simon.
The Chinese club's around the corner.
Please don't ring that number. So some things in the last minute or so. A new course. A new classroom training course to summarise things have changed, why things have changed, focusing on ETC and the term service contract. Next course, London, 19th of July 2018. Maybe the sun will shine on that day for us. Unlikely?
Oh, well, let's be positive. We've been positive all the way through. It will shine on the 19th.
Yeah, let's be
July,
positive.
Somewhere.
It's positive. Let's be positive. NEC Awards. So we're getting towards the NEC User Group Annual Seminar, which is in June 2018, and I'd like to repeat again the NEC Awards that have been really well received the last couple of years. For this year, Projects of the Year, Client of the Year, Contractor of the Year, and Contract Innovation through additional clauses, which need to be, why not have a collaboration theme? So additional clauses that lend themselves towards collaboration more than the standard NEC contracts or something like that. But anyway, you'll no doubt receive an email. Please do put forward some nominations for the awards. They'll be gratefully received. Next webinar, I could do a note, something to do with BIM. No dates as yet, and we'll be in contact. Otherwise, that's it. It's 2 o'clock, time to get on some work. Try and do so collaboratively this afternoon. Would you agree?
I agree.
Or more collaboratively, perhaps than you were this morning, and enjoy the rest of your day. See you at the next webinar. My thanks once again to an excellent speaker today, Simon. And don't ring the number that I said ring. And thank you very much.
Thanks, Robert.
Thank you.
Take care.